Assalamu alaikum, salam, shalom. Hello, and welcome back to the Science of Soul podcast. This week we're talking about the coronavirus outbreak, the pandemic, and updating everyone on what the world looks like right now. So learn from it, enjoy it, share it with your loved ones, and as ever, please subscribe to our podcast, whether you're listening on YouTube or you're listening on Apple Podcast or Google, and give us a review. It will do a lot to help boost our podcast and show us a little bit of love. So please enjoy. Okay, boys, we are live.
Wagwan.
Assalamu alaikum. What's going on? What's going on, Abdin?
Prawn cocktail.
Oh, actually, you've got a bit of an update. You are now, because
Corona free, bruv.
you're corona free, mashallah. Have you been tested?
No, I'm not corona. I don't know if I'm corona free.
Oh, okay. But you aren't living at home anymore.
I'm not living at home.
Why?
I've been chucked out, bruv. It's domestic, innit?
Your wife came to her senses.
It's like this savage, this rabid animal.
Why am I choosing to live with this? Get out.
No, so working at the hospital, I thought it to be sensible to get accommodation, because I got vulnerable people at home. So my mum's elderly and she's got hypertension, high blood pressure, and diabetes. So I requested some accommodation. It's quite close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I requested some accommodation, which the NHS, they provided me with some. So it's quite is like.
So
really
they decided that because of the need for NHS staff is so critical and high,
yeah.
that it's better for you to be provided with some accommodation and still be coming in rather than taking time off work. That's the situation in the country now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and obviously, if, not spreading.
Yeah.
Because we are high risk spreaders.
Yeah. I think since last we spoke, the thing that's the greatest change for me is just the way we're living. So we've all been told to not go out.
Yeah.
We're indoors all the time,
Yeah.
and my gym's closed.
Mm.
I'm like, from very recently, I've had to shift my work home now, so I'm working from home.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are up and down the country, other than essential people going in
Yeah.
for frontline staff like NHS and some teachers and obviously the police force and stuff.
Yeah.
So the country just feels really quiet.
It's dead. I mean, I have to go to work, so that bit hasn't changed for me.
You're a key worker, isn't it? Key worker or critical worker? Key worker.
I don't know where.
You're needed.
Yeah. And it's just empty. It's completely empty, and it's weird. It feels like a ghost town that I'm just like living in, and I'm the only person alive.
Yeah.
Like I have to form a posse.
You're already thinking of like post-apocalyptic, Walking Dead, like start your own gang.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a cult.
No, it's not.
If you start anything, it'll be a cult.
You're gonna be in it.
What am I gonna be?
You're gonna be in it. Oh yeah, religious minister.
Yeah, of religious
You're gonna
affairs.
authenticate my leadership.
Yeah,
If you don't,
you'll kill me.
I will kill you.
Obviously, execution, isn't it?
Horribly. I will kill you in ways that I will invent ways of killing you.
Is that how bored you are? You're so bored right now.
I am so bored. Honestly, I am so bored. I've realized. I don't do anything with my life apart from work, study, and train.
Coronavirus took you to realize
Yeah.
that there's not much going
The
on.
only thing I do is just train, work, and study.
That's it.
That's all I've been doing for the past 15 years of my life.
Yeah.
Maybe not working for the 15 years of my life,
Yeah.
but studying and trading.
Yeah.
I have no other hobby.
Yeah. This is what it looks like for you as well, because you're a uni student and you work part-time. But whenever I see you now, it just looks like you're doing nothing.
Yeah, just looking for stuff to eat, basically.
You're the one going through our stockpile.
I mean, there's not much else to do, and all the exams and stuff got cancelled, so
Do you
there's not much aim.
Do you go straight into year 2, or do you get held behind?
I
Because that
think it
must be
depends on the course that you're on. But for my course, I think that we go straight into year 2.
Oh,
But I
that's
think
alright.
it depends on the
So you're
exams that
winning.
we've already had as well.
You're winning then.
You're winning.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I hope they give some of the money back, or like don't charge
Yeah.
us the full year, because
Yeah.
we're literally only there for like 1.5 semesters.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Oh yeah.
Because schools are not looking to open until September.
No, yeah, no.
If that.
December. They were saying December.
Wow.
So are you getting work? Because I mean, yeah, you're winning, but are you learning? The whole point of uni is that you.
yeah, luckily we covered most of the content before, but also just before like the virus stuff happened, there was the teacher strikes.
Okay.
Oh God.
So that kind of cut off
Oh.
a month as well. So luckily the teachers tried their best to go through everything before that.
Yeah.
But obviously they couldn't have predicted the virus, so there was things that we probably would have covered
Yeah.
in these last few weeks. But it would have been April holidays, and after that would have been revision anyway. So luckily we
Okay.
didn't miss out on much content.
Yeah.
But there just won't be any exams or anything.
That's
like
all right. If you haven't missed out on content, but you're not having exams, I think that's a win-win situation.
So what does your
Yeah.
life look like right now? Describe it.
that. Just wake up late,
Oh my god.
find things to eat,
Oh my god.
things to watch,
Oh my god.
sleep. That's it.
Rinse and repeat. Well, things look very different for you, obviously. So can you tell us what your life looks like right now?
Well, it's not hard. It's boring. It's really boring. I feel so isolated. I go to work, and obviously here it hasn't ramped up that much,
Okay.
so it's all right at the moment.
Yeah.
Work, eating has just been all over the place because it's difficult to get, and sometimes you get busy and you're not eating. So I've lost quite a bit of weight
Really?
because I'm just not watching what I'm eating.
Oh man.
Uh,
Wait, that normally when people don't watch what they eat, they gain
they
weight.
gain weight, but
For
meaning,
you, it's the
like,
opposite.
I'm just not eating.
But
enough.
you're not regular. You're just
yeah,
all over the place. Yeah.
So waking up, going to work, and just getting kind of confused every single day by the situation.
Yeah.
Everything is changing daily. The guidance we are getting is changing daily. We're
Can you give me a couple of examples?
So and this is quite important. And I see, you guys have bought
Yeah, go on.
FFP masks.
Well, I haven't. My brother who runs a restaurant
I can't believe that. Should I say?
has ordered some masks.
So last week early this week actually, the guidance was I went for some training, and this is when it got really real for me. And we were going through CPR training for COVID patients.
Yeah.
And the whole scenario was very slow. Usually our instinct will be make sure everything's done as quick as possible. Someone will be on the chest, someone will be on the airway. It will be done within 2 minutes or so, less than that. A patient, we will try to revive a patient. Here, we're leaving, we have to put on the protective, personal protective equipment, which takes an age, and it's a patient could potentially die by the time everyone's in there to give them the help that they need in that moment. So that is when it was quite scary. It was surreal.
Yeah.
Although it was just a dummy, I was just thinking, would I have to do this to a patient? Really, and this might sound horrible, I wouldn't want to be in that situation that I am doing this to a patient. I think the information, the notion is that we're having conversations beforehand about end of life care, scene of care, etc., so that it doesn't come to this stage where we are doing CPR. We don't want to be doing CPR on patients.
Okay.
So at that point, we were told that if we're going to spend more than 15 minutes within a meter of a suspected or a diagnosed COVID patient, then we need to wear a surgical gown,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to wear an FFP mask or respirator and visors. And that was, it wasn't relevant to me because of my beard. They wanted me to shave my beard off for the FFP masks.
Yeah.
So I was I was thinking I'm going to spend less than 15 minutes. You know, I took the precautions. There's certain things that I'm just not going to do. So
Yeah.
CPI is out of the question.
Yeah.
Intubation is I'm not going to do anyway.
But
Senior
what
clinician.
if it was a really beautiful woman?
I don't want.
You definitely are you not doing
So
CPR?
you can't do mouth to mouth.
Really?
You can't do mouth to mouth. Yeah.
Are you gonna be really in like turmoil?
No, I'm not.
Are you gonna be conflict like, damn it!
No.
The only time I could have done it to save someone's life.
No, you can't do even when you go down. So we're being trained even when we listen for or look for breath sounds. So you have to go down and everyone's kind of done first aid. So we don't do that.
Wow.
We don't go down. We just look from afar and look for any effort, breathing effort. So yesterday, one of the educators came around, one of the nurses came around, and they were 15 minutes. If you're not going to spend 15 minutes, more than 15 minutes within a meter of the patient, you can just wear a surgical mask, maybe a visor, and a maybe apron or no, actually it was a surgical gown as well.
Okay.
And if you're going to stay more than a meter away from a patient, surgical mask, visor, and a plastic apron. So yesterday, those guidelines changed, and I don't know why they changed. But we all know there's going to be a lack, and we need to preserve the stock that we have with PPEs. So yesterday, one of the educators came around, and she was saying that the only time we need the full surgical gown, FFP mask, visors is if we're doing aerosolizing procedures such as CPR and intubation. Otherwise, we can go in with its plastic apron on, surgical mask, and maybe a visor.
So basically, they've taken it down a notch.
Yeah.
It's not as strict
Yeah.
with how much stuff you need.
I mean, it sounds. I mean, they were saying the evidence that has come out from China and Italy suggests that we don't need that much protection.
Okay.
It's a little bit scary, but
How do you feel about that? Because you sound skeptical of it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, is it because we have a lack of stock?
Okay.
Because why is it that in Italy they're completely kitted out?
Hazmat.
Yeah, hazmat. They're still in hazmats.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. But one thing that really bothered me actually was, and I was kind of multitasking at the time when she was, so I kind of didn't ask her. And to be honest, when you know that this person is not going to change, whatever this person is saying is not going to change, even if you question it. Yeah. So coughing is a aerosolizing thing. Coughing is huge. So she was saying even if the patient is coughing, you don't need to go in with an FFP mask on. You can just go with a surgical mask.
Okay. Wow.
So I don't know. Some people think the other doctors that I've spoken to, they think that they're just throwing us in there without any protection.
Yeah.
And we are out of our depth.
Okay. There's one thing that I find a little bit scary.
Yeah.
And it made me a little bit paranoid the other day for the first time, and I hadn't been that worried about it. Maybe I should be, but I hadn't been that worried about it until, I saw a couple of these things. Now, the death toll right now is very high, and it's incredibly tragic and sad.
Yeah.
But most of those people, I'd been led to believe, were people who are older, people who are likely to have passed away this year anyway, because of underlying health conditions or just because of their age.
Yeah.
But there were a few instances, and I spoke to you about this, but you can tell me a little bit more in detail. There were a few instances of young people who didn't have any underlying health conditions passing away, and they were like giving video messages saying, take this seriously and don't, it's good information that they were sending out, but it was just the fact that they'd been hit so hard. I mean, it was fatal in both of their cases. And up until now, we'd been led to believe that, oh, young people are unaffected. It's mainly you need to protect the elders. So obviously, I was worried about the
I
elders
think
in
young
my
people
family.
are affected,
Yeah,
and there have been deaths of young people,
yeah,
and you get that if something is capable of killing people, it's not just gonna kill old people.
yeah,
Yes, old people are more vulnerable, and you're right that if the people who are dying, they would have died this year anyway. Majority of people.
yeah,
Um, I would say it's we're talking about statistics, isn't it?
yeah,
And it's quite difficult, but these cases are cases that we need to really take seriously,
yeah,
and we could take the whole virus and the outbreak seriously,
yeah,
whether you're old or whether you're young, but at the same time realizing and coming to terms with, or realizing that these might just be freak cases, and it may not, because it's a balance between being careful and outright anxiety. So I think you need to hit that balance
yeah,
where you're safe, you're keeping others safe, and that's very important. And I think that's more important than anything else is, if you feel your life isn't, if you don't value your life and you want to be reckless, think about preserving others. Be reckless so that it just affects you, it doesn't affect anybody else.
yeah,
So it's very, very important that for the sake of others, we are doing as we are told, isolating, reducing or minimizing how much we are moving around, and riding this out as a community,
yeah.
a collective community, not an individual.
Yeah, we're gonna feel this for a while yet, isn't it? It's not like, because when this first started happening and we spoke about it last, I thought that, oh, okay, this is something that's going to be a month of our life or maybe 2 months of our life. Let's see how it goes. But now it looks like the effects of this, and you can talk about it in more detail. The effects of this are going to be felt in so many areas for such a long time.
Yeah. So our aim is to drag this out as long as possible. Just so that the healthcare system isn't inundated and over saturated.
Yeah.
So it won't be weeks. It will be a few months.
Yeah.
We're trying to drag it out into the summer period, and that is where we want to take the peak. So technically, we haven't peaked yet. That's a little bit scary.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of deaths already.
Yeah. But yeah, we haven't. We're still waiting for the peak.
Wow.
Do you think world's gonna feel different afterwards?
I think so.
How do you think that will be different?
I think, firstly, I think in terms of, and you can probably speak about this, the economy is going to be very different. I'm not sure how people will be. I think a whole generation of people will be gone.
Yeah.
And whether we become a society like Singapore and China. So in fact this weekend we had a new specialty doctor starting in our department, and he's from Bangladesh and he had worked in Singapore, and he was saying that it was compulsory for them to wear a mask for every patient that they saw. And there, almost everyone is just they're wearing masks, and we see that a lot of Oriental people, they do, South Asian people and Far Eastern people, they do wear masks. The question is that how we will become,
A society of like overly cautious.
Yeah.
And sort of slightly paranoid people.
Yeah.
And then even socially, like I've noticed, so I've been going for walks and stuff just to keep active. And when I am like walking past people are like, I'll tell you, bro, like this particular case that happened, people leave a wide berth, right? Because that's been the advice. Keep at least 2 meters between between people, so people will like really avoid me. I've been trying my best to just give eye contact and smile and have that human connection and let people know that, you know what, like, I'm not a threat. I'm a nice person, and I'm doing this to be nice. And in most cases, I'd say about like 60-70% people have been looking and nodding and smiling and understanding and acknowledging why we're giving each other this gap. There is this kind of communal understanding that this
Yeah.
gap is for everyone's benefit. But there was this one lady who, when I was, there's a bit of Tylus Road where the pavement becomes really narrow, really, really narrow. So only one person can realistically walk on it. So I could see her a mile off, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to just kind of come out onto the road. But I had to check if there was cars coming. At the time, there were no cars, but the closer she came, I could see there were cars approaching now, and I need to get back on the pavement. So I just kind of quickly stood on the pavement, let the cars pass, and then quickly got back off, and then started walking again. And I gave her some eye contact, just a smile to let her know, like, you can pass now. And she was just like, yes, okay, yeah, fine, just go. Just like, she didn't say that, but she was
Yeah.
moving her face, like smiling in this kind of manic way, like to just, okay, I get it, but just get out of my life because I don't want to get ill and die. And obviously, she was elderly as well, so I don't blame her for being worried. But this is the thing, I think the fallout of all this stuff, all these measures, just how when someone does something for a while, they habituate to it, and when someone thinks about something for a while, they kind of condition themselves towards it.
Yeah.
I feel like this self-isolation or sort of distancing is gonna linger for a while after we get told, oh, you know what, it's all gone away now, you can
Yeah.
go back to normal. But not everyone will just go back to normal, I don't think.
I think it's a good thing because we could potentially have a second wave.
Yeah.
Last thing we want is a second wave during winter period.
Yeah.
So it might be a good
Would
thing.
it be as bad or like
It'd be worse.
worse?
During the winter period, it'd be worse, yeah, because we already have flu patients. We'll already be saturated, for their healthcare system. I think that's another thing that, in aftermath of this, we may get a massive injection of, well, depending on how the economy does, injection of money into the healthcare system.
Yeah.
People might actually, really push for that.
Yeah.
500,000 people volunteered for the NHS. That's brilliant. That's amazing. Maybe because they don't have anything to do at home and they thought, be let's be useful.
Yeah.
But I think that's fantastic. The applause, the clapping. My next door neighbor didn't. So I ain't gonna help you.
You wanted them claps.
Yeah, you live next to a healthcare professional.
Yeah.
You come knocking on my door. You didn't clap for me, did you? So there is that appreciation, and there's companies out there who are sending like massive amounts of food to hospitals, which is brilliant. So there's a lot of support. So I think that might, in a way, it shouldn't have taken a virus to appreciate the healthcare system, appreciate healthcare workers either. But if anything good comes out from it, I hope it's that we boost this healthcare system.
What do you reckon is going to happen to the economy, Dish? Resident economist.
I'm not obviously an economist, but there's loads of ways that it's like already affecting it. Obviously, the healthcare system is one.
Yeah.
And like obviously the last election, NHS was sort of like central to in the news about the different attitudes different politicians had towards it. And even in America, you can see like from their private healthcare system, like obviously the government, if there had been like something similar to the NHS, maybe they would have had less deaths, because I think they have the most at the moment.
I didn't think about that. A lot of people can't afford healthcare.
Yeah,
And
over
that's
there.
why they are being kind of left
Yeah,
out.
so a lot of people wouldn't even want to get tested if they're like, because of the cost of
because
it.
it's too expensive.
And I think
didn't think of that.
even insurance,
Yeah.
some of the insurance are void because they don't
Because
cover.
it's a new virus.
And at the same time, they're unemployed because their jobs are laying them off.
Wow.
And then obviously there's like the recession and stuff. Because
Yeah.
no one wants to spend money, there's just like a negative effect on that.
Yeah.
And
Is it going to be as bad as 2007, 2008?
I don't really know the details of that one. But a recession is obviously when the economy like decreases for like two quarters in a row.
Yeah.
And if it continues for a few months, it's going to end up being for more than maybe 2 quarters.
Yeah.
And the only way that it will recover afterwards is, okay, this might be a bit economisty, but basically they have to use quantitative easing. But
Okay.
the issue is that in America and stuff, they've already been trying to do that with really low interest rates, so they can't really make it any lower.
Yeah.
So it basically just depends on when the public becomes confident again.
Okay.
And after something like this, it might take a while.
Yeah, because it's
Because, yeah.
the psychology of the whole society is been it's taken such a massive hit.
Yeah, because people won't be employed, they won't have money to spend, and
Exactly.
because they don't have anything to spend, even less people will get employed.
Yeah.
So it's just a cycle that will just take like a big action to sort of correct.
Yeah.
The pattern or the interpretation of the pattern is suggesting that it'll probably be worse.
Than the recession.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I had this view that I'd been sharing with a few people the last couple of days, and I still stand by it, but now I think it's a bit more nuanced. So I was messaging people saying, look, don't be all doom and gloom and despair. Have this idea in your mind that this has come from Allah, right? So this is
Yeah.
what I'm saying to my Muslim friends. And to some of my non-Muslim friends, I was saying that, look, in one blow, this virus has stopped us polluting the earth
Yeah.
at rates that we were doing before. Flights have stopped. So imagine that the carbon footprint is completely changed now. And all these people are now at home with their families, spending more time, whether because they're unemployed or because their job has told them to work from home. But inevitably, everyone now is spending more time with their family members, if they have family members.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the way I was looking at it. But now thinking about it, there is, of course, that other aspect of all these people who can't afford. Like, I wasn't thinking of the American context.
Yeah.
I mean, our context is bad, but I wasn't thinking about people in the States where some people can't afford, like, if they have the virus, or an elder person in their family has the virus, they can't reach out for help if they don't,
Yeah, yeah.
they can't afford it, which is really, that's tragedy upon tragedy,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, it's going to be a while before people recover from this. There's going to be a collective trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was listening to Sheikh Yasir Qadi the other day, and he was talking about this. He was giving imagine this, because of all the masajid, the masjids, the mosques up and down the country, in the UK, in America, in many parts of the world, are closed, which is incredibly sad. He had to give a symbolic khutbah on online. He said he was giving this khutbah just completely as a almost like a sentimental gesture, because there was no one in front of him in that empty masjid, and he was saying how this is going to be a massive reset for everyone. Allah sent this creature. I mean, he called it creation, that it will get everyone to really take some time for introspection and for reevaluating everything in their lives, what's important. And kind of building on what he said, I kind of started thinking, you know what? Societies are really going to look at like a lot of their landscapes and see them differently, or at least try and terraform them differently. So the working environment and working world and that dynamic is completely going to change. All these people who've been working from home now, they're going to have, if
they know they can work from home.
Yeah, if it boosts productivity somehow, or in any way it at least matches it, there's going to be a good case that all these people can work from home now, and it's cheaper for them because it means they don't have to spend money and time to get into work.
It's cheaper for the companies.
It's cheaper for the companies potentially, yeah, as well, and they don't have to have that physical space to like put these people somewhere. And then overnight, the whole country became homeschoolers.
Yeah.
The whole country became, other than people who have to send their kids to school, everyone is getting a taste of what homeschooling is like. And so education and the upbringing of children, and all those things that we've spoken about privately between us, about Dr. Gabor Mate and how he talks about the lateral transition of values between kids. That's going to change, because now kids are with their parents and with people who are older than them, as opposed to being in big groups of their peers. And their education is going to be completely tailored to their learning style and their learning speed, if obviously assuming their parents can cater to that. Or there might be a whole generation of kids who just play video games and watch Netflix. Who knows? But it's gonna now give a chance for everyone to go, hey, wait a second, we did all this stuff this way for all this time. Now we've been forced to take a break. Can we just think about maybe not going back to the old system. Maybe we can do things differently.
Yeah, that's like just a theme where people want to go back to normal, but maybe there was an issue with normal in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like now we have an opportunity to really evaluate it because we're forced to. You know, it's not like we're voluntarily doing it.
I don't think it'll be normal.
Afterwards.
I think we
A
would
new
have
normal.
lost a
Yeah.
lot of things.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we probably won't lose, but we would have lost a lot of things.
Yeah.
We would lose a lot of things, and the ones that actually think about that and contemplate on that, I think it'll change. The others will probably have a COVID-free party. You know, they're gonna. That is what that is how we are. But I think,
There's going to be I feel like there's also going to be a big push towards automation. I mean, you were saying this
Yeah.
as well. If there was a case for, like self-driving cars, and if there was a case for pushing towards like AI taking over stuff, this is a massive case for it.
Yeah.
Like, because
and like having to rely on labor and just
Yeah.
relying on people in general.
yeah, exactly.
It's just a weakness, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the bottleneck. So
the farmers were saying they needed like 1 million workers or something like that
yeah,
to harvest their crops.
they're going to get robots to do that now.
I was thinking, imagine that, you know, just robots making our food, delivering it to the stores.
Why not? Yeah.
There'll be no stockpiling. There'll be no.
You're talking about
stockpiling.
rationing. Yeah, you're right. And I think there'll be a lot of companies. I mean, a lot of companies have been doing this anyway. This is, us talking about this, we're late to the game, but a lot of companies, I think, will definitely redirect a lot of their resources towards making that reality manifest much sooner. I feel like that. I'm very fortunate that I'm in a area of work where I'm still needed, and I've not felt, alhamdulillah, not that much of a loss of income. A little bit, because I've not been able to travel as much, but there's a lot of people who completely cannot work right now.
Yeah.
And the industries that are responsible for those employees they're going to think twice now about how to do things when they go back to whatever their new normal is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the world is gonna be. I think it's inevitable that it will look different after this. I can't imagine how, but it's gonna look different.
Yeah. I think in the next couple of days, I think the world is changing daily,
Yeah,
especially for me.
yeah,
It's changing. Like, there's a massive redeployment effort in our hospital. As of yet, I don't know where I'm going.
yeah,
Tomorrow I might be somewhere else
yeah.
on the front line.
Like, could they put you in a different part of the country where you might
No,
be
no,
needed?
no.
Okay.
How early did you think that it might get like really serious in this country?
Well, when it started developing, a lot of us had this very dismissive,
Relaxed
attitude. Even
I
the
did.
seniors, and we were just
Yeah, it was like a meme.
Huh?
It was like a meme at the beginning.
It was, and a lot of us, even I was, I was doing prostate biopsies one day, and I was talking to my registrar, I was saying, you know what, people just need to get it, recover, and that's it. And she was like, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
At the same time, people were coming in, and they weren't shaking our hands. When patients were coming in, and they weren't shaking our hands.
And so you probably thought they've gone crazy. Or
Yeah.
Like,
But I was putting an ultrasound up their backside.
yeah.
But they weren't. So, and then it just suddenly, it felt like overnight, it just got serious.
Yeah.
The whole attitude within the hospital, the same people, like if senior clinicians, they have so much experience, and they've gone from, oh, it's no big deal, to actually this is a big deal. It becomes a bit frightening. And I think for me, it hit me when I done the CPR training. Well, it hit me when I first got the symptoms last week.
Oh, when you were
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you were coughing
And it really hit me when I was doing the CPR training.
yeah.
And I think I'm coming up now is like getting more and more serious. Everyone's saying tomorrow. So this has been the thing. Like, oh, next week is just gonna be we're going to be swamped.
Yeah.
And last week went and it was fine. And now they're saying, this week will be, so we don't know. Tomorrow, on Monday we go in and it might be empty.
There's a lot of love for the NHS workers right now, though. And one thing,
and everyone just walks out or walks away. So I've been wearing like scrubs underneath, so I haven't been changing my thing, maybe because of laziness, and I just zip up, and sometimes you can see it. So I'm walking into Tesco's and everyone's like walking away from me,
like the Sea of Moses, like just parting. You know what? There's a lot of love for NHS stuff right now, and I think it's almost like, you know how Trump said he's a wartime president. There's this wartime atmosphere of everyone collectively like choosing to struggle and sacrifice, and because
and
they all feel part of
terminology is
something
being
bigger.
used.
Yeah, same terminology is being used.
Redeployment, deployment.
Yeah, and you guys are almost like
Front
the soldiers of this battle, of this war. The NHS stuff and health workers all around the world are the soldiers of this thing. And what is awesome about this that I love, it's not that I love the coronavirus, but what I love about what it has done is that although there are all these negative social like adjustments that we've had to make, one thing that is awesome is that it's rallied us all to this particular cause.
Yeah.
And this particular cause is not human. So all humans, despite their race, religion, gender,
apart from certain politicians where they say Chinese virus.
Oh yeah, that's true. No. But I think other than him, like everyone has, it's now an American virus. Like the American,
epicenter of the pandemic is.
Yeah, so like again, I'm not calling it an American virus. I'm just saying that everyone has kind of gotten together, and there's no the xenophobia around it has kind of died down now. Where at the beginning it might have been looked at as like, oh, this is a Chinese thing. Now I don't think. I've not come into any conversations where it's been about, where it's come from. It's just, you know what, we need to deal with this now.
Yeah.
We're all in it together.
Yeah.
And we are all in it together because the leaders are getting it, Boris Johnson's got it now.
Quite a few people, yeah.
Quite a few people have got it.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of more people are going to get it. And, you asked young people have died. I think it's a wide range of symptoms that people are getting. So, for example, my friend... We had a patient, and I just found out now that it's a surgical ward. It's not frontline. So this is why I said frontline, because we don't know where the front line is, right? It's a surgical ward, and we tested him for COVID early this week, and we didn't think he had it. And in fact, yesterday I was telling another one of my colleagues that if he had it, he probably wouldn't be doing so well right now. Because he's frail anyway, and then I find out today that he had it, and I've been next to him. All of us have been next to him.
So it's very likely you have it.
I don't know.
Or you've been infected by it.
I don't know. Maybe.
What's the likelihood? Very high.
Probably quite low, because we didn't spend that much time with him. Quite low, I hope. The nurses and the healthcare workers, and those are the people who we do need to really look out for, because they're spending a bit more time with the patients.
Yeah.
And the more time you spending with the patients, the worse it's showing, the worse the severity of the symptoms.
Yeah.
So those are,
because a lot of doctors and nurses who are actually quite healthy people seem to be like struck quite hard by it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it attacks your lungs. Who isn't going to be thinged by it?
Yeah.
In fact, one of my very close friends, I called him yesterday. I hadn't called him, because it's just been so, although we haven't been busy at the hospital, it's just been a bit exhausting mentally in terms of prepping for it, etc. I hadn't called him. I called him yesterday. He was like, how's it going? He's like, mate, I've been ill. I've had the coronavirus for 2 weeks now.
Oh wow!
So he was saying that it was horrible. He was having really high temperatures, and then he's asthmatic, and he's got eventually he developed a cough, and he was saying that he tried to go in this past Wednesday, and he tried to walk from the car park to his department, and he was just out of breath, and he was saying it's horrible, it's horrid. So
he's a healthy guy.
He's a healthy. He's asthmatic, but he's my age, and he's otherwise healthy.
Yeah.
And then you get this man, for example, who was on our ward, and he didn't have any of that symptom. He had a little bit of coughing. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's a wide range of symptoms, and I think that is what makes it a little bit more scary, because you're not quite sure where it's coming from as a healthcare professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think with Ramadan, whenever you listen to this, whether Ramadan is coming or it's here or it's past, with Ramadan being so close in proximity to when all this is happening, I think what I listened to Sheikh Yasser Qadi say is really, really like is hitting home for me
yeah.
about how we need to really like when these things are sent by Allah, whether you want to call it a plague or you want to be more granular and specific and say this is a virus, pandemic, or whatever, if we are people who believe that Allah has authority over everything, then we acknowledge that He sent it, and so we have to see the wisdom in it, or at least try and extract some wisdom from what's happening and be better people as a result of it. And from what he was saying is that just we've been a people who have had all these blessings and we've not been grateful for them. And he was talking in regard to, and I felt this because I live so close to the masjid, because of the masjids being closed down and we're not allowed to go anymore. And of course that's with good reason, and we'll be rewarded for sabr and everything, but the blessing of being able to go and pray at the masjid is gone now, and that's something for us to reflect on. What have we not been grateful for, or what have we taken advantage of, or what have we not appreciated for Allah to decide that this is what's going to happen to us, and many other things. Like he also spoke about how societies can be places where a lot of he used deviancy and other aspects of vice, specifically he was talking about, and how those things can warrant punishments to be inflicted on the whole community. Whether people were not partaking in it or not. Sorry, whether people were partaking in it or not, it will inflict. The calamity will be inflicted on everyone. And he did try and give some something to seek refuge in, was that if you are someone who's been good and it's happening to you, that to also realize that if you are taken from this earth because of it, specifically with these kinds of things, you can be a shaheed, and like whatever you experienced in this world, you'll be free from it in the next. So don't feel like you're being punished, because collective punishment and individual punishment is two very different things, and not to conflate those things. So not to feel like, oh my God, I'm being punished for this particular thing. But it is time, he was saying, that it's a good opportunity to reflect and look at how you're living and what you're doing to this earth and what you're doing to animals and what you're doing to nature and all those things that are interconnected, and how we're abusing them. That is probably, like, if you look at it scientifically, has probably led to this virus, like jumping from an animal eventually to a person. And if you look at it more from a theological, spiritual perspective, that our sins have warranted this thing to come down, Allah's wrath to come down. So with Ramadan specifically being part of the context, our context, it's impossible not to sort of hear his words and think, what, actually we need to think about how are we appreciating what Allah's given us, how are we looking after our elders, like, so that's something that's so important in our culture. And it seems like in this particular generation where we're adopting the lifestyle of a different civilization or a different culture, maybe we're not appreciating our elders as much as we used to, and that Allah's decided, what, I'm going to take them away as well. I'm going to close the doors of the masjid, and I'm going to take the elders, and you won't have time with them, you won't be able to appreciate them because you weren't doing it before. So I don't know, like, these are all interpretations of what's happening.
Well, I mean, whether it's a punishment or not, I think it's it's a very important way of kind of reevaluating this kind of indestructible notion that we have of ourselves and of our society, and looking at the fragility of
humbly.
life. I think that's important. I think humbling ourselves, and as you said, where the virus has come from. I think that's very important. We need to. I think we're living through a time where, especially as Muslims, we've completely forgotten the way we are supposed to be treating animals.
Yeah.
And we're allowing that to happen. And we're almost distracted by others who are actually treating animals worse than we're supposed to be treating them.
Yeah.
Telling us that, or accusing us of inhumane acts against animals.
Yeah.
I think this is the time that we become less apologetic and less defensive, and be proud of the principles and the teachings that we have within our religion.
Yeah.
And exposing that to others, whether they believe in God or not. I think our principles need to be taught to others.
Yeah.
And this kind of takes the conversation down a little bit, but the act of cleaning yourself after defecation or urination.
Mm-hmm.
There's a massive thing around people buying toilet papers, etc.
Mm-hmm.
What's our principle? What's our teaching? We just use water.
Yeah.
That's a massive thing. Yeah, we'll use a bit more water, but that water can be recycled.
Yeah.
Whereas toilet paper, where is that coming from? How much effect is that toilet paper going to have on the environment? Yeah, recycling water might have an impact on society as well. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, we need to really be as Muslims, be vocal about our principles, more vocal about how we as Muslims are handling this situation, and helping others through it. And I believe that, especially in this country, a lot of Muslims are going to suffer from this virus.
Yeah.
And, because we live in a very collectivist society, we're living together, as, we're living with the older generations. A lot of our population is prone to it because of diabetes and high blood pressure. So there's a lot of things that can be taken from this if we take from this. And we need to be looking at so many different aspects of our lives because of this virus.
Yeah.
I'm sure every single part of our lives could be changed.
Yeah.
Some way or another because of the changes that are happening because of this virus.
Okay, so right now and for the foreseeable future, a lot of people are isolated, or they're staying at home, or they are cut off from their normal social circles and stuff because of social distancing and all this stuff. Can you give some tips on keeping sane and also keeping healthy? Like, what have you been doing?
I've been going insane.
Okay.
So I have like a plan in place. So I'm not training. So I got some. I'm thinking of getting. I've got bands. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna start training at home. I think learning something is quite important. We spoke about memorization. This is probably a really good time to start get onto that. Start memorizing, learning the Quran. Learning. I think stick to just learning the Quran. Some people might want to learn the Arabic and stuff like that, but I think learning the Quran, Norman Ali Khan YouTube, his tafsir of the Quran is brilliant, is very interesting. Get through that. Once you've got through that, find something else. But I think it's a very important time to learn the Quran. Get your family to learn the Quran. What else am I doing? I'm starving at the moment.
Dish?
I'm not really the right person to ask, to be
I'm
honest.
not even gonna ask you. I'm just shaming you.
He's gonna wake up late, go hunting for food in the house.
Just been having so much peanut butter
Have you?
and bread.
Is that what's keeping you sane? Yeah. But you are actually a little bit losing it.
Look at his
I see you like doing dancing in the house now and then, and it just seems like you're just losing your mind, slowly losing grip on reality.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of like it in some ways, just not having anything to do. But I don't know how long I'll like it for,
Okay.
because I was quite busy before this, so it was kind of it kind of felt like a holiday for a bit. But then after a week, I don't know if I'll still like it.
Yeah. Post-apocalyptic holiday. What about you?
Yeah, I've when I finish work, I'm leaving on the dot.
Yeah.
Now I look at the time, and I'm finished, and I was like, okay, fine.
Just hang around a bit
Yeah,
more.
I'll be, I don't.
Mohammed, can you go home, please?
It's
Get out of
alright,
here.
don't worry. I'll see another patient.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been weird. It's a very odd, it's very difficult to explain it because we've never been through this. You know?
Yeah.
It's been such a strange thing. It's overwhelming. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it all.
Yeah. I think I remember I was telling you this the other day. I was getting exhausted from just talking about it and hearing about it because it's all that's on the news and it's all that's like anyone's social media is about, and my like all the things, all the feeds that I normally go to, like my YouTube feed is all just coronavirus related. Even people who have nothing to do about like health or any way like to do with microbiology or anything, they got something to say about coronavirus. And so I was just getting sick of it. And for me, so like the things that I've been doing is just avoiding, not in a way, I mean, it might a little bit seem like it's naive, but I talk to you. When I want to find out about something that's going on, I talk to you. So my information is coming through a source of expertise as opposed to going on YouTube or wherever else it is. So I'm avoiding too much consumption of that stuff, and then I've been going for walks, so getting fresh air.
Yeah.
In like I used to do strength training at the gym, which I can't do anymore.
What
so
are you doing? What are you doing now?
Just squats and press ups.
Okay.
Just squats and press ups.
Body weights, squats, jumping.
Yeah,
squats.
completely just body weight. Yeah, all body weight, and it's probably not enough, but it's like I've been happy doing it because it's like it's something.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's loads of good YouTube videos. I remember I told you there's like some really good jiu-jitsu solo drill exercise, which I haven't got on top of yet, but I'm going to start doing
Can
those
you
as well.
email me? I mean,
I'll send it to you, and I'll also link it in this if anyone else wants to see it. It's effectively just kind of like yoga, almost like kind of high impact yoga. That's what it looks like. People doing stretches and rolls and things like that. And in terms of entertainment,
with me, entertainment is I just can't do it. I can't fixate on something.
Is it because of what's going on?
I don't know why. Like,
but you do like movies, though.
I like movies, but I haven't been able to, sit down and be like, okay, I'll watch.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This is ridiculous. And please do not judge me, okay? So I spoke to my friend yesterday, and he had coronavirus, and he's been like in bed, and he's been watching. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this.
Go on.
He's watching Love Is Blind.
What's Love Is Blind?
It's like this, these stupid, Love Island thing.
Okay.
Program. And he was saying that he wants to get up and smash his head against the wall.
Yeah.
But he can't stop watching it.
There's something about it that's fascinating.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it's just so silly. So I watched an episode of that, and I ended up watching 4 episodes of it.
Oh God.
I heard someone talking about it on the tube as well. They were just saying how stupid it is, but they can't stop watching it.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's like it's lovely. They get to know each other, and it's crazy how emotionally in tuned these people are. I feel like a dead tree compared to these people.
Are they very expressive?
They are so expressive.
Okay.
Like, I'm being so expressive right now, right?
Can you say some of the stuff they say?
I'm not going to tell you. I can't. Look at me right now. I'm being so expressive, yeah? Right now, in front of them, I'll be like a prehistoric, petrified
Fossil.
tree.
Fossil. Just a
I'll be
rock.
cold. I'll be cold, bro. Ready to be burnt in these power stations.
Yeah, I'm not going to YouTube
Yeah,
this series because I don't want to get hooked on it.
There's
There's one pandemic. We don't need another one.
What I've been saying is, I haven't been able to
Concentrate.
concentrate, fixate on.
Is it because your
onto-
mind's on coronavirus? or
I
it's
think
on
everything
work.
uncertainty.
Yeah,
Uncertainty. Everything is really hard. Like for me, it's quite hard because there's certain things that are happening in my personal life which I really could do
Without,
with. Well, I mean, that's good. Whatever is happening in my
yeah,
personal life is hard, but it's a good thing,
yeah.
and I could do without having to live outside of my
Yes.
house.
Okay, yeah. Basically, you've been removed from your normal like environment where there's things that are happening that it would be good for you to be part of, and you're kind of
Yes.
extracted from it
Yeah.
and stuff.
And
Yeah.
it's, responsibility, and it's not like, oh, I want to be part of it. It's more like you really need to be here, but you're only, if it was any other reason, you won't be the person, you won't be an
Yeah.
adequate person. Does
Yeah,
that make
yeah, yeah,
sense?
yeah. If it was anything else, then what are you doing? Why are
Yeah.
you like? But because of this, I mean, this is the only justified reason, really.
Yeah.
It's for their safety and their health,
And
your
having
family
to see
members.
my mum through a door,
Oh, that must be hard.
and in an environment like this where, I hope my mum is protected, you
Inshallah.
know. But what? The worst case scenario, if she was to get it, my family, everyone, it's affecting all of us, I guess, because all my family, they haven't seen my mum for about 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's everything, and it's kind of every single day it just adds to it, and then with work, the uncertainty about work, where I'm going, etc., etc. I'm happy to help wherever I need to, but it's just it's a bit too much.
Yeah.
It's getting
I
a bit
think
too much.
the thing with the uncertainty. I think in your case, obviously, it's very difficult because you've been removed from your home situation, your home environment. But for a lot of people, I think they would be worried about uncertainty, and
Yeah.
I am too. And so when I say this, it's actually I'm saying it for myself. Is I think this is a really good time to really trust that Allah, His plan is the best plan, and so if there is uncertainty, by looking at the wisdom that Allah is the orchestrator of all things, that should give us some comfort. And it's hard to internalize that.
Yeah.
It's very easy for me to just say it, but the more we do dhikr and understand who Allah is and His attributes and His names, then maybe, and also look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, maybe somehow we can internalize that truth. But there's also, I think, there's some practical steps that have been helping me a lot with uncertainty and going through like turbulence, and that's just trying to find things that somehow remove my mind from the equation. Like for example, like meditation's a very easy one to talk about. I'll just say meditation's a good thing for people to look into. I won't start describing it and getting into all like the instructions, but exercise.
Yeah.
Like getting out of your head, basically, like doing something physical or doing something, or actually, this is the best thing, and I think you'll agree, is somehow trying to serve others, and whether that means being away from them or it means volunteering for the NHS. I think the moment you try and serve others and help others and start looking at other people's situation, it helps to really contextualize and alleviate the stress in your own situation.
Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, my mum did it, and we've set up like a community volunteer group. But I think you gave me the link for the NHS volunteer thing, and
Yeah.
I'll put it in the post, if anyone wants to like check out if you're in the UK and you want to volunteer for the NHS and somehow help. I think that would be a massive thing that would help towards coping with the uncertainty and the turbulence of this time by putting yourself in service of others. Because they found in loads of studies that the moment you can somehow empathize and sympathize, your own problems start to make sense a bit more and are a little bit more bearable.
Yeah.
I think you're already doing that because you're frontline, and everyone applauds you, mashallah. But yeah, so we are just about to hit an hour. You guys want to say anything? Any takeaways?
Just stay safe.
I think we'll leave it on that. Assalamu alaikum.
Where's that?